bravely fought off the dragons, Melissa fell silent. When Jerome struggled and Melissa rushed to help, he finally woke up. Surprised, Melissa found herself under him, joking about his weight. Yet, as Jerome tried to leave, Melissa held onto his tail, grateful for his rescue and expressing her adoration with a kiss. Alan, satisfied with bringing them together, received a blessing from the wind god. The god announced a future gift for Jerome and Melissa after their marriage, leaving them with cluster. Melissa wondered if he was ready for such responsibility. The god disappeared, leaving Alan with a sense of weirdness. Reflecting on the wind god's book, Alan considered Amy's absence. Realizing Amy wouldn't receive divine protection when she visited in 4 years, he pondered the unfolding scenario. As Alan delved into his thoughts, Jerome started thanking Alan. Alan insisted it was unnecessary, stating there was no need for any gratitude. In response, Alan suggested that avoiding this place for the next 4 summers would be enough as a form of thanks due to potential break-ins. Melissa entered the scene, expressing her gratitude for
just want to sneak down there, I think.
soared through the skies, saving a lot of time compared to taking a carriage, approximately 2,000 meters above the ground. Reaching this altitude, he faced no interference from inside the tower. Realizing he was reaching a high altitude, he focused on his goal. He activated the wind magic engine, took it apart, and left his seat on the plane while flying through the air. He then channeled his mana and gathered it in his hands. He targeted the tower floor, opened the parachute, and safely landed on the target. Without any issues, he made it to the tower's highest floor. Despite his fear of heights, he entered his parachute into a storage state, grabbed onto the wiring, and successfully climbed the tower. Feeling accomplished, he stood in front of the treasure he had been seeking, and he lost his way in the sky before reaching the Forest of Illusion. This was bad given the strong demons and monsters in the area. He knew there was a time limit for the concealment, which wouldn't help in this situation. Upon reaching the village, he decided to camp as the sun set. He noticed a drop-off point outside the village, making it easier for him to land his plane. Using the vertical engine and activating altitude control engines on both wings, he made a comfortable descent to avoid risk. After using up his magic abilities, he retired. Upon landing, he saw elves targeting him with bows and arrows, catching him off guard. When brought to the village leader, he questioned him, bounced off, deepening the mystery. Alan questioned the person's allegiance, wondering who they were working against among the elves. The queen, sensing the complexity of the situation, requested Alan's assistance in this troublesome scenario. Alan started to wonder about the mysterious person who suddenly posed a threat to the village. As they delved into the identity of this surprising figure, Alan considered convincing the individual, initially labeling him as a wizard. However, the man insisted that he was a middle-aged virgin, surprising him. After some conversation, Alan, still curious, began to inquire further about the man's virgin status. The man expressed gratitude to Alan for the initial help. As soon as the man left, cheers erupted from everyone, including the queen, who perceived him as someone superior. Even Sherry, captivated by him, assumed he must be beneficial for the elves. The villagers kept urging him to take a break in their village, and Alan spent time in the hot spring within the elven village. As he sat alone in the spring, he reflected on the situation and felt like he might have done something wrong during the entire event. An elven individual then approached, suggesting that he should watch his back, making Alan uneasy about the man's intentions from the start. After he finished resting in the spring, Sherry was amazed to see that he could actually fly. Alan assured them that he would come back to visit. When he finally said goodbye to everyone, she waved her hand at him. Alan thought about returning to his hometown after accomplishing the most important thing he had to do. Now that he completed phase 1 of his mission in life, he considered moving on to the next one. Alan believed he had everything he needed, and the only thing left was to improve his strength and raise his level. As he pondered how to enhance himself, Rudolph asked if Alan was thinking about his goblin-slaying debut. Alan was indeed contemplating a new beginning. Before he could give a definite answer, Monica unexpectedly appeared and quickly pulled himself too hard. She playfully slapped his back to divert his thoughts. That night, Alan then discussed the extermination mission with his mother, explaining that he would be away from home for a while due to dangerous requests. As he was cradled by his mother, thoughts of a future free from every problem filled his mind. He believed that when the time came, he would be able to protect his mother. Later, when Alan approached the familiar old shady shop to sell the honey he had received from the elven village, he felt it might be too expensive for someone like him to possess. Despite Alan's attempts to explain that he had secured it through a connection, the man insisted insisted on bidding $2 million for the honey. Alan decided to accept the offer, but the man continued to ask for more. Alan believed he could manage, though it would take some time. When he requested a magic bag the size of the room, the shopkeeper burst into laughter, claiming such a thing didn't exist, not even in dreams. Despite the shopkeeper's incredulous words, Alan was certain such a bag existed in the room. Deciding to leave the shop for the time being, he envisioned successful expeditions in the future, driven by his own improvements, allowing him to make progress. He entered the village of Stroizid and met the village chief, who explained they were struggling to find help. Alan decided to stay in the village, and the old man offered him free lodging, but he had to pay for his own food. Alan couldn't stop thinking about the goblins he was going to hunt. After pondering for a while, Alan came up with the idea of using an AK-47 Kalashnikov. He used concealment magic to explore the forest, suspecting there might be a labyrinth where goblins appear. Prepared for a fight, he entered the forest and